Inebriated Insights with Mark Hahn.
Hey, welcome to Inebriated Insights, everybody, the show where we're trying to obtain herd mentality before the election. I'm Mark Hahn. Joining me, Dave Stratton, Mike Townsend, Jared Kaufman. A lot of shit has happened since the past 2 weeks. Since we
Wait, what?
Huh?
What?
Wait, really?
Yeah, a ton of shit, Jet.
Ton of shit.
Did you see, for instance, Chris Evans accidentally showed everyone his dick?
Oh, that's what it was. Nobody was talking
Accidentally.
about it. All right. I didn't see it. Did you guys see it?
We
I
don't
did.
know it's his penis. It could just be
No.
a penis. On his
Right,
penis.
yeah. It was not on his body. It was a shot of it directly, so it could have been anyone's.
I mean, was it big? Was it like a big penis?
I mean, it was America's dick.
Well, then it was his. Why do we have to question that?
That's true, yeah.
Captain America's dick.
So Captain America's dick. Isn't Chris Evans English, though?
No, he's American.
No.
Oh, okay.
He's American.
There's another
Pine?
Chris Evans. No, there's another Chris Evans. He was on Top Gear, who is also named Chris Evans, and he was one of the ones in the Epstein logs too.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't think
our Chris Evans had to make a big deal at the time, like that. Not that Chris Evans.
Got it.
I don't think we're at the point yet where we would hire someone non-American to play Captain America.
I thought that would be the biggest irony ever. So.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But we're going way off topic here. Sorry, Mark. What are you talking about now? We're not even drunk yet.
No, that was pretty much what I expected was going to happen when I mentioned Chris Evans' penis. Just a lot of enthusiasm there. Oh, Dave, what's our drinking word for the night before we get started?
It's going to be anything election. We're going to say the word
Anything
election or
Election, elected, elect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All that election stuff. So
Elocution, if you say it badly.
I don't know.
Which would be ironic.
Synonyms for election. I don't know. Electorate, electoral college,
I'm going
Polling.
to let you be the Supreme Court and call balls and strikes on that.
There you go. I'm just going to be.
All
I
right.
thought we'd
Calling it
moved on
left
from
and
Chris Evans' dick.
Chris
Yeah.
Evans' dick is going to continue
Yeah.
to be a motif.
We're never
Throughout
moving
this
on from
show.
Chris
There
Evans'
you
dick.
And all future shows.
And we should just have the drink
All right.
where it be Chris Evans' dick. Here we go.
Oh,
Oh, Christ. Put a lot of tequila in that.
guys, in some ways, this kind of feels like the nihilistic election because nothing anyone does or says ever affects the polls. They check the polls every morning, no matter what anything. I mean, Mike Cohen can say in his book that Trump wanted to bang his 15-year-old daughter. There could be a piece of the Atlantic about how Trump hates the troops and thinks they're all suckers and losers. But if anything might change the trajectory of the race, it might have been Bob Woodward's book. Bob Woodward, a man famous for taking down President Trump, inexplicably decided to have 18 interviews with him, and in one of them, he said that as early as February 7th, he knew the severity of COVID-19 and how dangerous it was. And in another one from March, he said that he always liked to play it down. So we know that this won't affect Trump's MAGA base, who thinks that all of us here are going to break into their house and kill them as soon as Biden's elected. But Mike, do you think like any sort of these revelations could hurt Trump on the margins anywhere?
The margins, like the heavy margins, maybe, but ultimately, no. No, I think we're just in different territory now. We're not in a Nixonian era anymore. So, no.
Like the Nixonian era, man. That's a good word. It's a $20 word right there.
Should make that a drinking word.
Yeah, Nixonian.
We're not. I think people they've made up their mind. There's like the attention span. There's just so much information that people are just like have already digested. People already made their mind like year 1, really.
I mean, supposedly there are still undecideds, as absurd as that possibly.
Yeah, like
could
at the
be.
town hall that he had like 2 nights
Those
ago.
are not undecided.
Like,
No, they're not.
Yeah, they didn't.
Bullshit.
They didn't
No.
seem like it.
No.
Yeah.
No,
They played undecided so they could ask him.
I'm not one who's like, oh, that was an ambush. That's ridiculous. But there's no such thing as an undecided voter. Or there's very, very few, I'd say very few times that's an actual undecided voter at a town hall. No one's going to a town hall if they're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's not like Bush Gore in 2000 where it was just like, I don't know, they're both stupid, but also like they haven't done anything wrong, so who cares? Like, but man, were we wrong, right?
I think to the question as far as like peeling off those edges, I don't think the Woodward information will do that at all, because I think the only people who will listen to that and take away from that Trump lied about the severity of this situation are the people who already knew he did, already believed he did, already believe in that the virus is real, already believe that it's a concern. And so I don't think it does anything but further just confirm to us. I mean, it was definitely a big outrage moment because for me, it was a case of, oh, it wasn't merely that Trump's stupid and never believed it. He actually knew it was this bad and lied about it. Like, that was slightly revelatory to me just because my consistent belief had been that he didn't even believe it himself. But I think if anything was going to peel anyone off, and did to some small degree, it was already the previous thing you mentioned of his disrespect to the soldiers. Assuming anyone believes that, that's a heavy Venn diagram with a lot of his base, and a lot of the Republican right is the incredibly pro-military, and they're the ones who all along, like through all the mask stuff and everything, you're disrespecting the people who fought for our freedoms and all of that. So assuming any of them believed it, and I saw some indication that some people did accept what he said, it had an impact on them already, but I don't think the Woodward stuff did.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that big of a revelation, because there were a couple times where Trump was like kowtowed into when he was giving a speech during like the first March, beginning of April, where he came up and he was just speaking off the script. He was like, "It's very serious." There was obviously someone within his campaign was like, "You have to take this seriously." Someone had gotten through to him, but then the worst side of him, the majority side of him, was like, "Fuck that! This isn't going to help me." So, so he threw all that away. So yeah, he knew, of course he knew. He has this. He has access to the smartest people that our nation has to offer, and they want him to know things. So yes, of course he knew.
But there's like that the Olivia Trout. The Pence's aide on the COVID task force, that whole video came out today about that. I watched part of it, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty freaking believable there, that he said specifically in one of the meetings that the moment where she kind of lost it, just couldn't do this anymore, is when he was talking about how he no longer will be like, who cares about shaking hands? Like, that's fine, because I don't want to shake hands with these people anyways. He's talking about his own supporters that he didn't want to shake hands with. And so she's coming out and telling these supporters that, but I mean, A, they're not going to believe her, or B, they're going to be like, well, he was meaning something else. It's edited out of context. And it's just like, no, he doesn't give a shit about his own base. He only cares about himself. He thinks his base is stupid and manipulative, whatever.
Manipulable? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Election.
maybe? Yeah, election.
Election. That's true.
So, yes, they can be easily manipulated, and so to do whatever he wants. Second thing I want to bring out was that whole Woodward thing, and it's like, he knew about it, which is just drives me crazy, because like, if you think about this is negligence, and like any court of law, if you knowingly know about something that will cause harm or kill somebody else and you do nothing about it and somebody dies because of that, you can go to jail. Like, Herman Cain was at his campaign rally without a mask on and contracted this and died, and he could have told them not to do that. It's like, is he negligent? Can he be held responsible for that? Yeah, I mean, a normal person would say yes, but it's not going to happen. It's
Short
bullshit.
answer is The short answer is not while he's in office.
Yeah, not at all, man. It's like these. Just a,
I say the thing that really surprised me was the fact that he gave the interviews in the first place.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest part.
Fucking wild.
By
I mean,
all,
it just
all
it
means,
just
that was
speaks
the
to
dumbest
it just speaks to like the kind of character that Bob Woodward is, and like a lot of journalists have talked about that he's got like almost a mystical quality to him, like how he breaks down people, and he like I was reading about he uses it's called like it's not TikTok, but it's called the TikTok method, where it's basically it's a step-by-step, moment-by-moment construction. It's almost like how an investigatory
election.
prosecutor investigates someone. Like he goes step by step. Oh, so you did this, and then you did this. Tell me about this. So then this. Like he's very. The way he talks to people, like it draws them in.
Yeah.
And like George Stephanopoulos was talking about, he's like, I thought I was better than him, but I gave up so much shit on Clinton.
Well, and see that right there speaks to it because it's the arrogance of Trump. Again, it goes back to it's just amazing he's that dumb, but he is. It's the arrogance there that he absolutely thought he could turn that to his favor. He could speak to Bob Woodward. It was to his benefit, and he could outsmart him and outwrangle him because he believes he's smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, that was why he did it. Trump said that he thought the problem with the first Woodward book was that they hadn't let him interview him. So he thought more of me talking will solve the problem.
Yeah.
And now we'll get a great book.
It always works so well.
Sorry for my ignorance, but is Woodward, is he the Frost Nixon guy, or is that?
Yep.
That's what I figured. I just wanted to clarify.
He's been around a while.
and then that guy destroyed Nixon. So why the fuck
I had to
Trump
verify that too because it's been so long. It's like, is it really the same guy?
Yeah, like that's a long time ago. That was a good movie too.
That's the thing is like to think that you are immune to that man who has destroyed previous presidents. Like that is the most insane part.
Super arrogant, man.
Yeah.
And I know why people talk to him, because apparently I heard this from one of the former Obama officials who said Woodward just came into the office and was like, well, I have these documents here and I know this stuff, so I'm going to write this book. So it'd be nice to get your side of the story.
So you like,
one way or another is coming out. Would you like to help spin it?
Yeah, he's like To Catch a Predator kind of guy. He's like, hey, come on in here. Go ahead. Come on in. Come here. Just see what's going on. Like, all right, so what were you doing?
See about some condoms.
I see you got some condoms there and some juice boxes. What are you doing, Trump?
Condoms and juice boxes!
No.
Wait, that's an improv team name. Condoms and juice boxes.
Oh, no.
That is a good improv team name.
All right, should we move on?
Those were the days. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Now.
I'm going to shoot this time.
Woo! Oh fuck! Why didn't I get it? Why didn't I get it?
Guys, Mike Bloomberg, our savior.
Yeah.
He's finally stepping up.
After 8,000 texts. Sorry.
He's not donating nearly as much money as he said he would, but he has given $60 million to Democratic House races. And he's now given $100 million to the Biden campaign to run English and Spanish ads.
Here.
Okay.
Should we pause and drink, or?
It's always good.
We're back up. Go ahead.
Election.
We'll get it in post, guys.
Chris Evans Day.
To recap what I was saying, Bloomberg putting a ton of money into California, putting up English and Spanish ads. LeBron James also very focused on Florida. He's trying to pay off the felons' court fees so that they can vote there, because the Supreme Court put a poll tax on them that said that even though Amendment 4 passed, they still have to pay off their court fines, whatever. Winning Florida would be amazing, because then Florida counts their ballots very fast. So if we knew that Biden had won Florida on election night, we could avoid this whole red mirage. There would be much less uncertainty. That would be amazing. But Biden hasn't done as well with Cuban voters.
What?
this election cycle.
Oh.
Right.
So, this question is for Jen. Do you think that Mike Bloomberg, our savior, the man who's going to save democracy, do you think this ad buy can swing things in Florida in a more Biden direction?
I'd have to see where the ad money's going, what's being done with it, because the biggest concern I have in general with our side's entire pitch, side's entire advertising scheme is the Biden platform, as best as I've consistently been able to tell, is vote out Trump. I know there's more to it, of course, but for the most part, that's all anybody's seeing, all anybody's hearing. It's most of what's being put forward is I'm not Trump, we're not Trump, we're better than Trump, get rid of Trump, and that's good. Like I'm not gonna disagree. That's great.
I'm
like
convinced.
that's all I care about. But like it's taken a while for me to even come around to the fact that I kind of like Biden now. But I mostly love the thing I love most about Biden is getting rid of Trump. And that's it for everybody. So the big problem we're going to have is that when there are actual Trump voters there, and especially, as you said, like the Cuban demographic especially is surprisingly strongly Trump because of the socialism concerns that they come from, especially anyone like first generation, that I don't think you can win that if your entire approach is I'm not Trump, because they are Trump. If they're already going for Trump, and especially if they're already afraid of socialism, then that's not enough. And I'm not. I think they're going to have to actually step up on policies and other factors if they're going to have any chance. So I'd have to see the ads to have any sense of that. Outside of that, the other concern I've got is I don't think we can escape the red mirage anywhere. I mean, obviously there are places that are so hard blue that it's not going to be a problem. But I think there's even a few hard blue places that are going to get a red mirage that night. And so we're going to have a hard time getting early enough results. Like, I think the only way we're going to avoid a war is if we somehow win on election day, and that's not going to be possible.
Yeah, it's like, except for California, I love how when we were watching election night and you see the election map, and like it's like, and California votes are in, and it's blue. It's all blue.
Right.
All electoral votes go
with
toward
0.05%
yeah.
reporting.
It's like before even it's like before like
right.
they hit the button that it's like it's like 9:05 or whenever, or like 9 o'clock on the dot. It's like boom, it's all of a sudden it's blue. But I was gonna say that I feel if Bloomberg put all his money into paying Sammy Sosa to be the spokesperson for Cubans, I feel that he would win all their votes. I don't know. No,
I thought Sammy Sosa was Dominican.
Never mind. I thought he was
Cuban. We can fix that in post.
Yeah, we'll fix that in post, right? He's like, wait, no, there's.
I could be wrong.
No, wait.
Yasiel Puig is.
Puig, that's what I was going to say. Puig.
Do we have Alien Gonzalez? Is he still around?
Oh, God. No, get Puig to be the. I'll just shut up for the rest of the night here, guys.
Election.
But I mean, come on. How many of you guys were annoyed about getting 4 texts a day from Bloomberg? Like, is that really going to help him sending out texts about Biden?
I wasn't annoyed because that is a how many billions of dollars does that guy have?
Yeah, who cares about him spending money?
He has all of them. He has all of them. And he's like, when he says like, "Hey, if I'm not in this, I'm still giving a lot of money to Democratic causes," and he does. So I have nothing but respect for that guy, even though he's a robot and he's weird.
Well, he only just finally started to do that because he promised it and he didn't. But yeah, eventually came around.
Man, it's still he doesn't have to give dick, and he did. Yeah. That's really great. Like I just read a Warren Buffett's friend, like all these some of these billionaires who give all their money away. Like it's astounding.
Yeah, like Bill Gates does.
Really great.
Hey, Mike, you're kind of like you're almost off screen. Like I want everybody to see my flowers and my open door of my closet. Make sure there's no monsters in there. But I think that I don't know. Yeah, fucking Bloomberg. All right, alcohol. Election.
I think Trump is bound and determined. I'm sure he is to have the Red Mirage because he's suing now to have them delay counting ballots in New Jersey until Election Day. Like ballots that normally they would start 10 days before. And I wonder how many lawsuits they're going to have about, like, you're not allowed to count this until the day after the election even because I want everyone to think that I won.
It's just going to be.
I really hope that the journalists are just responsible and are like, there's a lot of ballots left to be counted yet. We don't know, and we're not going to call the race until we're sure.
Well,
that's what I hope.
When George W. Bush won, that was all just a debacle from was it CNN who called it or MSNBC that called it? And it was just like that was too early. Yeah, like Florida was still way too close to call.
Oh, they all called it.
Yeah, it was just a nightmare.
Yeah, they called it and then they took it back.
Yeah, it's like if they didn't have done that, if they haven't have done that, like I think Gore probably would have won it. Like because it was just they speedballed it. Like it was, I don't know, it was just a nightmare. So election day is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be super scary, and we're all going to just shit our pants multiple times. It's just going to be a shit fest. So buckle up, everybody.
Yeah. And he's been seeding so much doubt. He's really been making a big fuss out of the only way we lose is if it's rigged.
Yeah.
And so all of his people will believe it if he loses, and hopefully he will, and the numbers look like he will. But what will that matter if he can then steal it back, fight it in court till well past the time when he should be out of office, and his people all believe he won, and we end up in a civil war.
Well, doesn't he doesn't Pelosi or the Speaker of the House become
no
that's something.
No, there's a whole other chain of command that didn't quite add up to that.
I think it was Georgetown that has some division of their university that ran a ton of simulations. I could be wrong. There's all of these different scenarios that can happen because this has never happened before where there's been a contested presidential election where someone just decided they're not going to leave, which is almost certainly going to happen.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, I hope, and this could happen, that Biden gets 350 electoral college votes and he just wins by such an overwhelming margin that to any reasonable, moderate person, it would just be laughable for Trump to claim that it was rigged. But we don't know what's going to happen.
He's going to say it's rigged no matter what. It's just like...
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like the military has to be on site to fucking calm him down. It's just...
Right. Well, but of course, one of the questions was, if all of the legal battles drag out past January whatever, 21st, whatever, yeah. If they drag out past that, then the military themselves has to question, who do we answer to?
Yeah.
It literally becomes that question of who are we answering to in this situation? Who are we removing from who? It's that absurd. Yeah. That's why I think really our only chance of this not turning into that scenario is if we can manage to win on election night with walk-in votes directly, which I don't think can happen. But if it can, that's the only way where it looks obvious enough that we're not even basing it off the mail-ins at that point, which are the only things that he can reasonably claim were rigged.
Well, we did get a good piece of news.
You cannot reasonably claim that mail-in votes are rigged.
But to his base, he can, because they're already convinced that's the case. Yeah. I agree that it's not reasonable, but I think that's the thing that his base is so fired up on the idea that those things are riggable and fakeable and cheatable, that if we win based on that, they can go, yep, that's what we expected. If we win based on the things that everyone agrees was the only reliable metric, which is walking in the door, then they don't have that argument.
But Jet, don't you think if that happened, don't you think if we all walked in the door and elected Biden, that Trump would then say China or Iran wanted this to happen?
It's pronounced China. It's pronounced
China.
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 It's going to be something.
Yeah,
I'm almost morbidly curious to see what
he'll contest it no matter what, and I absolutely agree. It'll just be a harder sell to even the base, the Republican base, the overall Republican base will have a harder time believing it if we manage to take it that night.
Well, before we move on, we did get a really good piece of news today, and that was a judge in Washington said that the United States Postal Service had to cease and desist the changes that they were making.
Good. Because
it was obvious that it was politically motivated. Yeah. I don't know who can enforce that, but hopefully...
Or who will bother to.
Or if that person will be replaced by someone else who gives slap dances to parishioners at Mar-a-Lago, but, you know...
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but my mail has come a lot faster over the last couple of weeks. I don't know if anybody's been tracking this, but I had 2 T-shirts that I ordered. One, it was coming from New York, and the first one took 3 weeks to get here. The next one took like a few days, and so I was just like, I don't know.
Dave, I gotta say, I love it when you go just like full on dad, and you're like, I ordered some T-shirts on the coast.
I was watching the Home Shopping Network, and they ordered
had 2 for 1 special.
And if I was 4 easy payments of $14.95 in a row for 3 days.
They came straight from Japan.
I don't like the Japanese.
But they know how to cook.
There you
Dave
go.
just went Bill Cosby now.
All right, what do you want, Mark?
All right.
He wants us to stop.
That's a good place to move on. Let's drink.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I butchered that last segment question super bad, but see how this one goes. So, Dave.
Yes.
We got ourselves a debate, September 29th.
Oh, yeah.
In Case Western University in Cleveland, moderated by the great, not yet late, sometimes fake, Chris Wallace.
The Thrill in Manila.
Oh, that was a good payoff.
In this debate, it's for real.
Oh.
Because there's going to be more early voters this year. There's going to be more mail-in voters this year. They don't have another debate until October 15th. So Biden, Trump, what do they have to do? Because in some ways, this is kind of their last pitch. Their last way to make a real inroads before the election.
Oh, man. I was thinking about this today, and I feel like Biden just has to sit there and be an improviser. Just listen to everything that Trump says and just call him out on everything. Just be like, just respond to what he says. And it's like, because like 95% of the shit that Trump says is either a lie or it just doesn't make any sense at all. And he just has to be like, that is not true, or that doesn't make any sense. And I feel like he'll just destroy him. Like, I feel if he just sticks to that course, Trump's just going to get up and leave. Like, he gets so mad when people start, like...
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, at news conferences, when people ask him questions and he gets mad, he just leaves. And, like, if you were like an undecided voter, which you've already decided that there are none of these people, or if you're on the fence, or even if you're like soft on the fence on board with Trump, and you just see him just like get up and leave during a debate because his temperament's that awful, like I don't know, I think that would be the strategy right there. Just get him really pissed off by calling him out on all his bullshit and just making him get so upset that he leaves. I don't know. That's my strategy. But if you wanted a traditional response about, like, you know, topics to talk about, I feel the veteran thing is really the point to go to. His knowledge of the COVID back in the COVID back in February. I don't know why.
Election.
Election. Yeah, call that shit out that he knew about it and you didn't do anything about it, and now 200,000 people are dead and it's just rising even quicker. I really feel that if he was to ignite his base and say that masks are necessary, they would have totally wore them, and we wouldn't have 200,000 people. We would probably have maybe 50,000 people. I don't know. I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass, but that seems about right. But I don't know what Trump can do. He was probably just going to say a bunch of bullshit, and then all of his supporters are going to be like, gung ho, we like to be narcissist, and we don't give a shit about anybody else, and we want to be racist, and this guy allows us to be racist, and so we want him still in office, and that's all he has to do. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I thought it was interesting that you put it that way, because that would be the opposite of Hillary Clinton's campaign strategy, which was kind of rope-a-dope. Just like, I'm going to land a few punches, but for the most part, I'm just going to let him hang himself by his own rope and show everyone what a piece of shit he is. And if Biden is like constantly being aggressive and agitating him, I'd be very interested to see how that would work out.
I wonder if he can do that.
I think that would play out better, but I honestly think, like, you know, you're dealing with a 77-year-old man and a 74-year-old man at this point. It's really like, it's watching like two tennis players, but both of them have sprained wrists and tennis elbow, and like a busted Achilles. So you're just like, who's gonna crash and burn first? And that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about someone just like, because they're long debates, and they're old men, and I'm constantly worried about that.
It's gonna be like
constantly like, who's gonna fall down?
I think Trump doesn't really need to do anything. I mean, there's not much he can do that's going to fire up anyone outside of his base, and all he seems to care about is maintaining his base. So I don't think he needs to do much, but just keep up what he's doing. Biden, initially, I was going to say he doesn't need to do much either, because he can just let Trump, hang himself. But you make a good point there. It'd be really interesting to see Biden, because he has fire. We don't see it a lot, but we see it occasionally, and when we do, it's surprisingly compelling. I'd like to see him go on the offensive, especially about, like, the easiest thing is just hammer Trump on the pandemic. 200,000 people dead, and every single lie and misstep. And I feel like Biden himself could just ask Trump questions. I mean, I have no idea what the hell the format of this thing is going to be, but if he just bothered to ask intelligent questions and let Trump flame out on them, like if he pulled a Jonathan Swan from Axios and actually interviewed Trump and asked him questions and then held him to his lack of answers, like that alone would go so incredibly far.
Yeah, all he's got to do is just like, hey, what are the first like 4 amendments of the Constitution? He wouldn't be able to tell shit. Like, what are the 4 Gospels of the Bible? He wouldn't.
Right. Well, the classic. What's your favorite part of the Bible? And his response was all of it. I love all of it.
He doesn't know any of it. He's an idiot.
Right.
He's the biggest fucking moron like the country's ever elected. But his base, he talks to his base, and they're as stupid as he is, and so they're all on board because he talks to them on their level and they understand them. So it's just, I don't know. Some days I'm like, I'm going to give up and just not worry about it anymore. And other days it's like, no, if I do that, that means they win. The terrorists win. And I can't let the terrorists win.
And of course, it's also a super privileged position for us that we could like not care about it, and it wouldn't necessarily impact us that much. Like, it does impact me a hell of a lot, but me not caring about it impacts a lot of other people a hell of a lot worse than it impacts me. And that's a part of it for me, is I have to care about, like, yeah, I'm managing like in my situation as it is. In my job, I'm essential, but I'm not necessarily put into super incredibly dangerous places. So I'm working and I'm still making the same money I was before the pandemic, which is a luxury for me without being in incredible danger. Although I still feel nervous because I'm around a lot of Republicans a lot. But for the most part, I'm in a privileged position where, other than being terrified about healthcare like every American should be, I'm not that bad off. But I know I have a ton of friends and family members who are in danger from this situation. And I have people who will be down the line if we don't keep the Supreme Court, and so on and so forth. So yeah, as much as I would love to be in a position to go, fuck it, I'm just going to check out and not care anymore, I can't afford to, and the people I care about can't afford me to.
Yeah, the big thing is that
And really, none of us can, because we don't have clean air to breathe.
Yeah,
and
we're all
that's
fucking
going to get
burning.
worse and worse and worse.
I don't remember last time in California that we've gone through a week where the AQI was over 100.
Yeah.
I don't remember. And even with like 2 summers ago, where we had fires like at the Getty.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
right.
there was a couple summers ago where like I could see fires from my backyard, like on the hillside on the around Selmar and whatnot. All those hills were on fire. The Latuna Canyon was all burning, and that was just like, hey, there's fires over there.
It's worse this year, and they're farther away.
Way
it's
worse. And it's just like all over. The whole fucking West Coast is on fire. It's just like, I have friends up in Seattle. There was like, I've never seen it this bad. Like, they're canceling sporting events. It's a freaking nightmare. And everybody's like, oh, climate change isn't real. Like, that's just natural. Like, well, when it's really warm and dry, things burn very easily. It doesn't matter what type of fucking raking you're going to do in the forest. There's really nothing you can do to prevent all of these fucking trees burning because they're so fucking dry. I mean, it's a natural occurrence with lightning and whatnot that comes through. It causes fire. Of course, some of these were sparked by idiots with fucking birthday or gender reveal parties or fucking arsons with Molotov cocktails. But
wasn't it all Antifa? That's what I was told.
Oh, it was all Antifa that did it. The made-up terrorist organization that doesn't exist actually was the one that burned the whole West Coast to the ground. So it's all our fault, people. So yeah,
people starting fires is not that can't be a big cause of it. I mean, it's a small, but they're so widespread.
Yeah,
that statistically speaking, that's not what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with low concentration of water in the air and on the ground because of the effects of aggregate climate change.
Yeah.
And not raking the forests.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
It's all California's fault because we didn't do anything, even though like 80% or 90% of the land is all federally controlled. But
anyway, let's move on to our last thing. Well, guys, here it is. Who should fuck off?
Yes.
Jet, I'm going to start with you tonight.
Oh, thank you, because I was prepared for this. Anyone who is actually undecided at this point. Like, if there's anything based on the entire experience we've had over the last 4 years, and especially over the experience of 2020, if there's anyone who is actually seriously out there going, yeah, but I don't know, there's Trump, but Biden, fuck the fuck off.
Exactly. Like, Biden, like, what, like, the beef on him is that he's a socialist, but, like, he's not even close to anything far left. And then there's one sexual allegation that hasn't been brought up to Trump's 27 sexual allegations. There's 27 women who've come out against him right now. 27! One person ruined somebody's career.
There was a new one today.
There was a new one today, so that's the 27th right there. And I read it today, and it's like any other president, if this one girl came out today to say that about that president, like that would be the end of their fucking career. But nope, whatever. I don't care if he's a fucking molester or rapist or like, I don't know. Sorry, Jake. Go ahead. Keep going.
In fact, I think I might even amend mine from Undecideds to this year specifically more than ever third-party voters.
Yes.
The protest voters. in retrospect, I can absolutely give them that on many, many other elections where it's like, it doesn't much matter. They're both two versions of the same thing, blah, blah. I never believed it. I never agreed with it. But by comparison, they were right compared to this election. This one, we had a bunch of people who did that at the beginning of it, hoping that, there were a lot of people who were kind of the anarchistic voters who are like, we're just going to stir up the system. Everyone's going to see how bad it is. And then it's going to swing back in the opposite direction. Well, it didn't. It swung back to moderate. We lost that gambit. Now, as opposed to thinking we can do this for 4 more years and this time it's going to work, we can't afford that. I lost the candidates I wanted. Absolutely.
Yep,
and I'm very disappointed about it. All of the actual far left candidates are gone, and I'm very sad about that. But instead of me going, well, screw it, I'm just going to pull out of the system. No, we cannot afford 4 more years of Trump just to make any point. We cannot afford to make a point right now. We can only afford to survive.
Exactly.
So fuck the third party voters.
I said this last show, but this is no longer blue versus red, Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus conservative. This is now democracy versus autocracy. This is full-on totalitarian government versus what we know as America and Constitution government as we know it. Because 4 years of Trump is going to be complete overhaul of the government right now. There's already fucking Republicans, dumbass people who are saying Trump 2024 because they believe that if he gets in office that he will petition somehow to go ahead and be running again.
Because he said he would.
Yeah, he's claimed a bunch of times that with all the ways that with the failed impeachment and all the things that have been done to him, that he deserves an extra term and that he's going to get it. And of course, there's nothing there to make that possible, but that doesn't mean he won't try.
I think he's going to die before that, but that's just me hoping. But go ahead, Mike. You haven't said anything wrong.
No, I have to disagree with the third party voting because I used to think the same way, Jared. I used to think the same way. Like if you're throwing away your vote, if you don't understand the general election versus primary, you don't get it. You're throwing away your vote. You're fucking up. But when you look at the statistics of like who's voting and who traditionally does vote, like people our age or younger just don't. So honestly, like I have to take a step back and say, fuck it. I just want you in the booth. Mm-hmm. I know, like, if you're gonna vote, whoever it is, whoever this third party person that you care about, fine, cool, man. I want you to get in the habit of doing this, of making your voice heard. And like, I understand how it's upsetting to be like, you're throwing your vote away because you don't understand how a general works. And they are, logistically, they are. Pragmatically, they're fucking it up. But it's so much better for them to be a part of the process than to not. If you're not part of the process, you literally you're doing worse than throwing away your vote. You're not even touching your vote. So I'm actually okay with the third party vote.
But see, any other election, I would say that I'm totally on board. But right now, I feel like
they say that every election, man. Every election is the most important one. I get that.
I know. We have said that. People say that all the time, but I really feel that like we're just not going to make it. You don't think we're going to make it? If Trump was elected, do you think there's going to be another election where he's not in it?
I do, but I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
There's more to do on the ballot than just vote for the executive. There's more to do.
Well, that's the thing is like,
and people don't take it seriously, but some people do, and a lot of third party voters do.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that they're in the booth. I'm happy, and I say this as a person who, like you, Jared, I'm not happy with Joe Biden. I'm not like ultimately happy, but ultimately I am, and I'm going to vote for him. Yeah. But I also tell that to you guys because you're my friends.
Yeah, go Nader.
Who else? I don't tell who I'm voting.
Go Nader.
Because it's a personal decision.
Right.
And I respect other people making their personal decisions as long as they're in the goddamn booth.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't respect is no decision at all.
I was thinking that lost it. Okay. Election.
Election.
Dave, why don't you do your who should fuck off?
Oh, I was gonna say, anyone who claims that they are a Christian and they vote for Trump, I was raised Episcopalian, and I still kind of identify as an Episcopalian, even though I'm far leaning more towards science than anything else right now, or agnosticism. But I do keep the core values of Christianity near and dear to my heart, of just treating other people as you want to be treated. And that is the full-on philosophy. That's the basis of everything that Jesus taught, is just be kind to others, treat others as you want to be treated. And that's it. And what Trump supporters, they put Trump above Jesus. And there's no way that they can be Christians. And like, I know it says in the Bible, don't judge others or whatever, but like, you know what? These evangelicals who support Trump, they are not Christians. I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care what anybody tells me. They are not Christ-like. That's the definition of a Christian. Christ-like. What does Christ do? He would surround himself with people who were hurting, people who were not social elite, people who were poor, lepers, people who weren't self-righteous. That was his whole ministry, was surrounding himself with those people. And Trump's the exact opposite. Everything Trump does is the exact opposite of a Christian. There's no way that you can call yourself a Christian and follow this man. Also, anti-maskers. If you wear a mask so that you can make sure that other people don't get sick. It's loving thy neighbor as yourself. You are making sure that other people aren't going to die or not going to get some type, not everybody who gets COVID dies. Most people survive it, but there's debilitating, lifelong symptoms that happen. Like, I have a friend who just completely lost his whole taste and smell, and doctors have no idea when it's going to come back because he had COVID. And you wear a mask so that other people don't fucking get this. That's it. That's all it is. You're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about others. So it just kills me to see people who claim to be Christians are like, I can't wear a mask because of I don't want the man to tell me what to do and whatnot. But that's not the Christian response. You're not a fucking Christ-like person if you don't want to wear a mask. I don't know. I'm fucking rambling. Anyways.
No, and I'm constantly hearing from people, I'm not afraid.
Yeah, there's the mask.
Yeah.
It's not about being afraid. It's about other people, man.
It's absurd because, yes, exactly what you're saying. I wear this thing. I am pretty much at most when I'm out at my job, I'm doing IT work at various clients. I'm pretty much the only person wearing this.
Wow.
And I've even had people come up to me and say, you don't need to wear that here.
Wow.
And I'm like, you don't get to make that decision for all of your coworkers.
Wow.
And I'm wearing this for you. And you don't know where I am. You know where all your coworkers are because you work with them every day.
Wow.
But you don't know where I am. In my situation, I'm at a half dozen other clients.
You're going to get me sick.
That's right, yeah. I thought it was muffling slightly. But yeah, I'm at a half dozen other clients. You don't know what precautions they're taking. You don't know what my home situation is. I have a daughter who works at McDonald's. Like, that's a thing. That's a potential risk factor. And she's making every effort to, and she's wearing her mask. But of course, her mask only protects only her. Like, this is an effort we make for other people, and for people to give me shit about the fact that I care about them is just so, it angers me to such a massive degree. I don't like wearing the mask. I don't. Like, I never claim that I enjoy it, that it's comfortable all the time, that it's easy, but I do it because I give a shit.
That's right. Jet?
Did you guys see the video of the guy in Montana getting dragged out of the PTA meeting?
No.
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 Nice.
Good. It's got some juicy stuff in there. It's kind of what I expected would happen in predominantly red states. Eventually it would just become drama. And it's a bunch of people in masks. Like 95%, they're actually paying attention. And this one guy who's at a PTA meeting, cops are coming in, and he's at the front, no mask, and they have to drag him out. But he's a big dude, and the cops are having trouble. He's like, you're gonna have to tease me. I don't want you to tease me, but that's what's gonna have to happen.
Wow.
They end up dragging him out. They don't tase him, but they drag him out because he's a white dude, and they were very nice to him. I was like, oh yeah, you're being real nice to this dude. But I was like, so that's my fuck you. Like, fuck you to those people. Because you knew the rules going in. They know the rules going in.
Look at that
you don't have to go to that. You don't have to be there. You can Zoom. You can find a way to conference in. You can if you don't want to wear the mask, there's other ways you can do it. But he decided, I'm gonna make a stink. So fuck those people.
Yeah. Fuck those guys.
Fuck those people.
And that's also why, like, I don't. Some of my friends are like, man, all these people who have to work all these like necessary jobs, they're soldiers on the front line. I'm like, we have to be careful about that kind of language, because when people on the right take that kind of language and they say, yeah, we're soldiers against this thing, eventually they start saying shit like, I'm not afraid, I can take it, I can take it, and it's like, that is so utterly besides the point. It makes no difference at all how amazing your Constitution is. It just doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't. It's not how a virus works. It doesn't care about how healthy you are. It doesn't care. It doesn't give a shit. It just use you to replicate itself, and then it will hop onto another person. I don't know. That's my rant.
Yeah, fuck off, man.
I'm going to give a rant about another virus that's springing up in our society.
The flu virus?
J.K. Rowling.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, fuck J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, she's stirring shit up.
J.K. Rowling, so it's back in June, and we're all focused on the death of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. And then there was an article that used the phrase people who menstruate, trying to be inclusive. And J.K. Rowling took exception to that and made a joke about it.
Yeah.
Like,
We used to call them women or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Wasn't there a word for that? And, she had been told before that some of the things that she said were transphobic. But she decided to double down. And then people started calling her a trans-exclusionary radical feminist again. So then she wrote an essay about it, which was fucking ridiculous, about people who went through all the trouble of going to the therapy, taking the hormone medication, getting the surgery, and then deciding that they didn't want it. After all of that, it was about the right to use your own restroom and to feel safe in that, and it was just riddled with transphobia. And now she writes a fucking book about a guy who dresses up in a dress to kill people.
What?
Like,
she's just stirring the pot, y'all.
Yeah,
She's trying to make more money.
And-
She has all the money in the fucking world.
She found her new base.
Yeah.
and like, then
She
after
went
that,
full Louis C.K.
this was pointed out to me by somebody else. In Harry Potter, there's an Irish wizard that loves to blow things up. The banker characters are all gremlins with long hook noses, and the Asian character is named Cho Chang.
Yep.
So, J.K. Rowling, you're a bigoted human being. You should apologize, because your words actually matter. Violence against trans people is rampant. Your words could actually get people killed because you have such a big platform. Please be socially responsible, but I know you won't. So because you won't, just fuck off and please never make anything ever again.
Yeah. Harry Potter sucks.
You have
anyways,
plenty of money.
am I right? It's stupid. I always thought Harry Potter was stupid.
Shut up, you suck.
No. That little bitch, Harry Potter, never fucking uses his full potential. I hate fucking stories where like goddamn main characters is like, I got all this power, but I can't use it.
I bet you
don't
think
know what I
Draco
can
was
do."
the true hero.
No, I don't. The whole
Harry
story is stupid.
Potter's a story about Hermione dragging dead weight around.
It's fucking
That's
dumb,
true.
dude. I don't care. It's just like
She's super smart. She's got a time machine, and she still can't do the shit she wants because she's got to drag whiny Ron and bitchy Harry
That's
Potter
true.
around.
No, Hermione was the true hero.
Yeah.
Easily.
Always hated it. I got like my exes. They all drugged me to fucking watch Harry Potter movies. And like, oh, read the books. They're so good. I'm like, no, it's a kid's book. I'm not gonna fucking read a goddamn kid's book. Fuck that, man. This movie's stupid. Harry Potter's stupid. It's dumb. I'm sorry. You can hate me. I don't give a shit. But it's
I want to amend my answer as to who can fuck off.
All right, what's that? Me? You want me to fuck off because I don't like Harry Potter? It's a watered down version of Lord of the Rings. Watered down version of Lord of the Rings. That's all I gotta say.
I read every page of all of those Harry Potter books, and I remember almost none of it because it was very fun and it was very entertaining, but it was not quality literature.
It's not. I don't think it's like high quality, but I do think like is it the fourth book? Where's the one with Umbridge?
Harry Potter and
that would be
the
fifth,
Nielsen rating of hell. I don't know. It's fucking boring as shit.
That's
man.
the one. That's the one where I'm like, oh, this is Harry Potter distilled. It's really you just take a character you love and then you torture them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I hate
You just
that.
beat the shit out of them. In this case, you just like carve his hand with just beat the shit out of a character you love and then make them win in the end. That's it.
Yep.
It's just distilled in that book. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's what you're doing.
That's fair.
Just shoot puppies in the head. That's all you gotta do.
It took 6 movies to be like, when is Harry Potter gonna fucking do something that's awesome? And it's just like, even at the end, it still wasn't awesome. It was just like,
I mean,
give me a
Neville
goddamn
Longbottom
break.
really won in the end.
Honestly, the last was Deathly Hallows cut into 2 books. What was it? Or it was cut into 2 movies.
Two movies. Yeah, 1 book, 2 movies.
But like
Sorry.
the first half of the book is them literally doing nothing.
Yeah, his nuts never dropped. They just were stuck up in him for the whole goddamn 7 movies or 6 books, and it was just.
Speaking of Chris Evans' dick.
Yep.
No!
The end is in the beginning. The beginning's in the end, and that's where we ended. Everybody, take us
And
away.
Dave hates 12-year-old children whose parents were murdered.
Yeah, well, it's all fake. And guess what? The woman who wrote it is a fucking homophobic, transphobic, racist piece of shit. So fuck off, J.K. Rowling, and anybody who claims to be a Christian and votes for Trump, and whatever Mike said and Jared said. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.